Now on to a documentary airing on WEDU this month investigating systemic failures in home construction, regulations in the housing market, plus failures in the property insurance industry. The film is called Built to Last, Buyer Beware.
The Tampa Bay Regional Planning Council did a mock projection of what a Category 5 hurricane would do to this area, and the numbers are staggering. The downtown area could get up to 26 feet of water, 500,000 buildings destroyed, over 840,000 households displaced, and 2,000 people killed.
If a hurricane like Ian were to have a direct hit on Tampa Bay, you would see hundreds of thousands of structures damaged, probably 1 million people displaced, and damage that would be in the avenue of billions of dollars.
The one-hour film premiered at this year's Gasparilla International Film Festival in Tampa. And joining us in the studio is the film director and producer, George Siegal. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Describe for our viewers the mission that you started out with to make this film.
It's a gigantic wake-up call. I was in the TV news business for 20 years as a weatherman, as a reporter, and we used to cover these things all the time, and you'd see disasters and victims, and it's the same story every time with what it's like for the victims. And so I wanted to make a film that showed people how stacked against you the odds are of things being successful. A house is your biggest investment. You put everything into it. You put all your chips in and say, this is my forever property. But you don't realize how well that house is built. You don't realize how your neighborhood is going to handle water when the water comes pouring in, and then you think your insurance company is going to be there to write you a check when the damage comes in. And I want to wake people up, and that was the goal of the film, to really get their attention, and I think we're doing that.
How long did it take for you to amass all the pieces?
Over a year, probably a little longer than a year. I mean, it takes a lot of time because you have to get people set up for interviews, then you have to find victims that want to share their story, which is very difficult. So a lot of pieces go into place, and when you're making a documentary film, you have to get a release from everybody. You can't be TV news where you just walk up and you're doing a story on something and you can just roll your camera. Everybody in there has to have agreed to be on camera.
What would you say were the biggest lessons learned from doing the film?
The biggest lessons are be careful when you live in Florida, because it's crazy what we deal with. You know, we had 2 hurricanes here in Tampa last year that could have been direct hits and destroyed us. We went to Sanibel Island, which, if people have been there, it was paradise, and now it's so depressing to see what happened there. We went up to Mexico Beach, which got hit by a Category 5 hurricane. And so when you visit all these places, you see you're living in a vulnerable place. And one of the worst things I hear after a disaster is people go, maybe this will serve as a wake-up call. We should be awake. This has happened so many times, and here and in other parts of the country, that there shouldn't need to be a wake-up call. We should already be doing things better.
What's been the reception to the film? How are you hoping that this will be used as an advocacy tool?
I think it's eye-opening for people. I think they come away, first of all, most people have never read their insurance policy. Most people have no idea what is actually covered in their policy until they need it and they pull it out there. So I hope people do that. I hope people start challenging their builder when they're building a house. Ask a million questions. Don't take their referral of, hey, these are happy customers. You want to find the unhappy customers. Those are the ones that have a better story to tell, because they might have had a bad experience, but you're not going to get the builder pointing that out. Go to the neighborhood and actually see the house after a rainstorm. See the neighborhood, what happens. Talk to people, talk to the local floodplain manager. You almost have to become your own investigative reporter, because it's a bottom-up thing. If we're waiting for the legislature to pass rules or laws that are going to be helpful for us, we could wait a long time. But if we all start doing a better job as individuals and say, I'm going to make better decisions, I'm not going to take the garbage that somebody's shoving down my throat, that's how we solve this problem, you know, one by one. And if we can wake people up and have them see that if you're not your own best advocate, nobody's looking out for you, you have a problem.
Great to see all the different voices that you brought into the documentary. I'm so excited for you, so excited to see this. Again, congratulations, wishing you much success.
Thank you, because it's heartbreaking when you see, and you've experienced this yourself, once you become a victim of disaster, some people never get recovered from it.
It changes you, it really does. Thank you again for joining us, George. Wishing you continued success. Built to Last will debut on WEDU during prime time on October the 16th. 19th with an encore presentation on the 28th. The 1-hour documentary will also air on our sister station, WEDQ, on channel 3.4.